Yes, the question about the evangelical communities, religions, the Seventh-day Adventists, and all religions in some degree have still been about a form of control, to control your mindsets, to focus in a smaller concept structure, to be able to put you into one narrative and with peer pressure shove you down the path of a very set, and we could say cult here, absolutely, we could use the word cult to describe some of those religions. It's a following. We say cult because it's man-made constructs, and it has been taken quite far from the original intent, which was to serve humanity and guide humanity. And while, yes, there are religions that are proud that they serve humanity and guide humanity, most now are off purpose path. They are not helping to some degree to help the people have their own navigational system in right and wrong. There are still churches out there that are saying same-sex marriages is wrong and sinful. And we can say to you now, love is love. And sexual orientation does not disappoint your God. It never has, and it never will. And this is judgment down on human upon human. Those who have judgment of others because of their sexual persuasion do not understand the purpose. Those who are attracted to the same genders, most of those are because they have served one lifetime in the same gender for so long that in this lifetime they are still identifying with their sexual preferences. And it is, of course, your free will to choose where you're born and who you are and your gender and what your body looks like. There's a lot that you actually choose to help you with your lessons and your purpose that you want to explore this lifetime. It is very important. Again, nothing has been done to you that you have not organized and planned for yourselves. So, for the people who have had many lifetimes in one gender because they needed to be able to fulfill those learning lessons of that one gender, and then they change, they have a new gender now, a different gender than their previous repeats, and they will still be persuaded and interested in the sex that they were previously. This is how we're trying to explain to you about people saying, I feel like I was born this way. I've always identified as a male, but I am technically a female in this body structure. And it goes for sexuality as well. You see, your original forms, your most purest forms, you don't identify as male or female. You are really just a powerful being. And when you're that advanced, there is no such thing as using reproductive organs to produce your young and your offspring, because you do it energetically quite different. If you still even need to do that, because the lessons you've already learned from that have already been mastered at that level. And so there is a lot that we can say to you to guide you and to tell you the purpose of a lot of things, such as sexual orientation, and people who do not feel comfortable in their own bodies. And this is because of your past lifetimes, and because sometimes this is your first new lifetime, and you've been so used to being your higher beings in those bodies, even though they normally mostly light bodies. It is hard for you to feel settled into the earth, that heavy density. playing out your role and your purpose. And this is such a marvelous time. And even though you will feel like this is the final act, this is the final show, this is the final play for your third dimensional worlds, it still is valid. And you still have lots to learn from it while you are here. And so for the people who are saying, are we there yet? Yes, you're very much there yet. It is very close. It is very close. And so you can enjoy learning all the things that you've not been able to unpack yourselves, and start purely with your new integrity. Let's start exploring things again differently. See how it feels to go back to your influences that you love so much and that you're still so proud of with those stepping stones. See how much you've grown. This will be tremendous for you all to experience the leap forward, how much you have grown, not just this month or this 6 months, but this year, and then go back 1 decade. Look how much you have achieved. Be proud of yourselves. You judge yourself so much on how you've recently just had that outburst of emotion. And you want to blame yourselves and shame yourselves way too much than you should. And so there's still so much wonderment to be able to unpack in this lifetime. So getting back to the question on hand, which is about the religion and which is about the Pope. Yes, your Pope. Very interesting how that has been manipulating people for so long for an agenda you have no, only that it is a front for another deeper, darker, sinister agenda. And what the church has been keeping away from you would astound you. They've known the bigger truths. They have so much records. If you now imagine going into the Vatican libraries that are off public limits with your new intuition, you would be growing. You would be expanding your minds in ways that you have never thought possible, because there is so much truth hidden, safeguarded. Because if that truth comes out, then they are shown to be wearing the fake morals, the fake agendas that they have been putting on their people. And they've heavily used peer pressure to control their people so they can pay money and so they can not notice what's going around them. Remember, the people who need religion, who follow religion, they need a straight path. They need to have heavy rules placed on them and live a lifetime diligently serving religion, because this is their best purpose, their best approach to being able to learn the lessons and pay back their karmic debt and move on that path. If people walk away from religion, it's also because they have learned to stand up to corruption, to stand up to their honor and integrity with their morals, and walk away. And that can be the hardest thing, to walk away from not only a religion, but your families. Because usually your religions are combined with your families. And so, when you've all had your many lifetimes, it is no coincidence that you're with your families this lifetime right now. And the dynamics that are being played out right now, this lifetime with your families, is serving a very important purpose. You're releasing all of the trauma and drama and the blocks, the generational blocks that your family's line have been creating. This is a very important lifetime for you to release all of that, heal all of that. So it's very testing. Remember, you're not meant to just blindly follow people. You're not meant to be blindly following religions. And you're not meant to be blindly following your family. You can respect all and you can observe all, but you never must waver from your own beliefs. What you know is the truth, and what you feel is the truth. You must never walk away from yourself because of peer pressure. And you all have at one point, or many points, or all points, disempowered your own intuition, because that is how society has been trying to raise you, to disempower you, to confuse you from your own intuition, to confuse your wisdom, to confuse you, to disconnect, disempower you. And this is how they needed you, to control you. But also this is how you needed to be able to learn from the purposes of it. So while people want to blame the churches for being the bad guys there, to restrict them and fool them, it is serving a purpose at many levels. So we ask you to have the bigger mindset, to understand the purposes more, and knowing the only thing you need to be able to be accountable for is your own morals, your own intuition and guidance, and empower yourself. Trust and believe in yourself always. So whatever lessons you're struggling with to understand about the religions and the people who are so dedicated to their religions, and those what you perceive and what we also perceive as to be limited mindsets, it is helping them so they don't create more karma, even though they can be very judgy and entitled and have their own agendas. Everyone's trying to do the best they can with whatever life missions and purposes they have. The Pope, we want to get back to the Pope, because this is an industry that does not come from a spiritual connection at all. It has been corrupted for so long now. It is the same as your political systems, in terms of it is backed by money, power, manipulation, and greed. It's not truly honoring the people and at the level that we are seeing this. So we do not want to offend anyone who is loving going to their churches, who is feeling the spirits, our spirits, your spirits, who are using their time in their churches to find and hear their moral intuition. It can be achieved while still going to church, and whatever indoctrinations and limitations the churches have, you don't have to blindly follow, but you also don't need to walk away. Find the parts that work for you. People who have to brag about fully believing in one religion and making others as obedient as them, that's self-serving for them. You don't need to feel the peer pressure to blindly believe in all if it doesn't work for you. It is about relationships and connecting with people and respecting others, and never being wavered, and never being peer pressured to believe in something that you know deep down does not work for you. The situation with the Pope has been a very grim one for a long time, and many will be shocked when they learn the truths about the manipulation that has been going on behind the closed doors. The Vatican City was not created from pure source. And there is a lot of negative and dark, but remember, most of the purposes here for the 3D world is to master the negative and the dark emotions and not get stuck in the mud, so to speak, of their heaviness. You're supposed to see through that, experience that, and grow from that, and know morally that that negative no longer serves you, and that you can choose and you can release all that no longer serves you. Shake that off, appreciate it, learn from it, grow from it, and keep back on your path of using your intuition, trusting yourself, loving yourself for all the hard lessons that you've explored, and growing, loving yourself for growing and all the lessons you have made, knowing that all of the harder lessons, all the times that you feel like you've walked off the wrong path and whoops, here I come back again, I'm going to follow my path again. Oh, I learned from that, didn't I? Oh, there was a little bit of pressure there, didn't see that. I respected that person's opinions a little bit more than myself that time. Oh yes, I see that now. Okay, back on my own path. That's not something you need to judge yourselves on. That is growth. You've all had relationships at some degree where you've lost your path and you've grown from it. Thank that person for now being able to know that you have grown from that and it's not the case anymore. The religion plays a positive part in your lives from many ways. And when some feel like cults, find the positives and respect the negatives because you've grown from that already and you can identify that that does not serve you any longer. Getting back to the Pope. His purpose now and the whole industry, shall we say, of that church, of that very questionable church, has not gone unnoticed. There have been many who have been watching and supporting that church and pushing them and nudging them into going back into correct integrity. So we can trust, you can trust now that the Pope you see now has different morals than what he set out to do, shall we say. A lot has been happening to that Pope because of his crimes against humanity. The whole industry there has been doing serious crimes against humanity for a very long time. And that is no news. Everyone has been aware of how corrupt that religion has been to the harm and detriment of the sexual abuses that have been happening for decades. That alone should open up many eyes, and that alone should have made any true Catholic person say, excuse me, what? Pardon me. How can we trust our preachers? How can we trust our priests when they have been accused of such horrific things to our children? How can we trust someone because they have the job of speaking the word of God, but yet have very questionable, we don't want to go further with this because this is all true. The sexual abuse that has been happening under the eyes and guise of that system based in the Vatican City will morally turn your stomachs. You are now wondering, well, if we've known about this, how come we didn't stop it? And this goes back to people's free will. They will learn When they pass over, they will have to pay back all that they have done, all the abuse they have done. But remember, because they have been so indoctrinated into the church, do not be surprised to find that most of the people, the adults who have been doing the abuse on children, were also the abused children when they were younger. And so the cycle is competing and repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating. And a lot of you have stood up to this. A lot of you have walked away from the church because of this. So there's all growth there. It's not one of happy conversations because it lowers the vibration. It is very somber because no one feels comfortable talking about the abuse of children, especially for an organization that poses themselves as being the saviors of the world, helping humanity be connected to source, helping humanity know the true integrity of God's word. This does not amuse God. This offends God. When people misuse his name in vain and then do crimes against humanity. While there are lessons there for all, as you can understand, the past has been the past. And if there is any personal trauma that you have, you will have to love it and release it, understanding the lessons that have been there offering to provide to you. Please trust again. We have many of these situations under control now. We are very much aware of where these major crimes against humanity have been based and are working. And so you can trust we're here helping you. We are here to protect you. And it's not that much longer until the veil is removed and everyone will be able to see the truth and understand what's been going on. We want you to be able to release all that is holding you back. And so we ask if you want to be able to profoundly release that. We say to you to put your hands together and bow down in like a prayer form and thank all of the lessons you have grown from. Thank all of the times that you have lost your path to then come back morally to yourself. And thank you for the lessons that you have been able to share to others. And that is it. Thanking all of the hard times. We'll honour them and they will be observed and learned from. And you can release. You may want to shake off your hands now. You may want to clap your hands. And you may want to say, and so it be. And celebrate. You've graduated, releasing those emotions. You've celebrated, acknowledging and honouring your growth. There's very happy times. So, what are you still worried about? What are you still concerned about and fearing? Let's explore that for you. Let's take that time now for you to unpack it and find the root issues of what is happening and why you are feeling a little bit apprehensive of moving forward from that sticky issue. And with your time that you have, you may want to explore it and observe it and see how quickly you can release it. The energies now around the world, the energies that are upgrading your body so profoundly, are helping you release the emotions faster, seeing the roots and the base of the issues and the triggers straight away, nearly immediately now, because you're more intuitive now. So, with your new skill sets, with your new intuition, explore it. You can do more than you think. And we say this with love.